Hi, it's Stephen here from Access Art. I'm here to show you how to do the Valentine's cards with the materials that you've got in your pack. So what I've done is I've taken out the paint pots and placed the brushes into each one. Taken out the oil pastels as well. Got myself a pencil, glue stick, the cards and the paper templates of 3 different sizes. We don't need the glue stick at the moment and we don't need the cards. What we do need is our pencil and the templates. So we'll start off with the largest template first. What I want you to do is to take your pencil and I want you to make a dot at the bottom, roughly in the middle. Then I want you to make 2 more dots, slightly beyond halfway, right towards the edge, like so. So it looks like a triangle. 3 dots. Now we need a couple more dots, so in the middle, in line with this one, we're going to create another dot. And then in between these 2 dots, and sort of halfway up, between here and here, that's about halfway, and same on between these 2, that's about halfway as well. Now it's just a case of joining the dots. So we're going to start at the bottom, and we're going to try drawing a line up to the first dot, and the other side. And then now round to this one. Now you could start this side and back to the middle. It doesn't matter which way you go round as long as you join them up in this order. But what I'm going to do is, I have an edge but it looks a bit spiky, a bit jaggy, so I'm going to try rounding off. So to do that I'm just going to draw over the top of my line, but when I get to a dot I'm going to just take a softer approach to it, a softer approach. Again, on this side as well, softer approach. So there's the original line. You can see this line slightly more curved. And again, slightly more curved. Don't be afraid to go over the line a number of times. When you feel you have the right line, you're happy with it, you can lean a bit harder, and in that way you know you've got the right line. At this stage we've got loads of options. We could cut this out just now, we could use oil pastels, or we could paint. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a rubber just to take away some of these lines that I don't want, because I want to be able to draw on the surface with the oil pastel prior to cutting it out. So I'm just going to rub this bit out, rub these bits out as well, get rid of the shavings. So I'm just going to lighten it so it's not as dark. So we've got a nice soft love heart there. Now I think I'll take one of my oil pastels, doesn't matter which one, but I feel like the orange is going to stand out the most. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over the edge, not neatly, nice and rough, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it creates a sort of fuzzy love heart shape. I think that's quite nice. Put that there. So I've not shaded in this extra bit, and I've not shaded this bit in either, because we're actually going to cut this piece out. So maybe I should have mentioned at the start is that we're going to need scissors as well. So now would be the time to go and get them. So I've got my scissors here. Now at this stage, I might want to paint it. I might want to cut it out. I feel like I just want to paint it because I can hold on to the edges that way without my fingers getting particularly mucky. Now what would be quite a good contrast with the orange, I'm not going to go for the purple because they're kind of opposites on the colour wheel and it might turn it really dark on the edge. I think we're going to go for the yellow. Nice sunny colour. Quite thick. Yeah, I'm just going to go that thick. Now I'm not being neat. You can see how messy I'm being. So there we go. Now you can still see a little bit of the love heart underneath all that paint. But to bring it out, what we might do is, with a piece of kitchen towel, again you might be better off getting this at the start, is place it over the top and give it a pat. Now what you're going to do, this is just going to take the excess paint off, and it's going to allow the oil pastel to come through. So we had a bit of an incident with the camera there, but it's nice and stable now. So we're just peeling it off, and what you can see is the oil pastel is now very clear to see because we've taken the excess paint off and it's nice and bright. So now what we want to do is we want to give it a dry. And because we've taken the extra paint off with the paper towel, it's dried quite quickly. Now I can still vaguely see the pencil lines, and I'm going to use them as a guide to cut this heart out. Just going to chop this out like so. And just take our time. Now I'm taking my time about this. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. That's the first love heart. And this is the largest one. The next template size is slightly smaller. So what we're going to do is the same process again. We're going to take our pencil, we're going to make a dot at the bottom, in the middle, about there. Now about halfway up, we're going to make another dot on one side and a dot on the other. Now in the middle, between these two dots, we're going to do a third dot. And then in between these two dots, roughly halfway between the top and where the dots are, we're going to make another mark. And again, the same. So it's the same pattern as before. We're going to draw around them, join those lines up. So just nice and free. So again, these lines are a bit straight. So we're going to put a curve on them, like so, and like so. And I'm happy with that. Again, we're going to use the rubber. Just take out the extra lines that we don't need. And I'm going to change to the pink pastel this time. And I'm going to do exactly the same as before. I'm going to go over the top, nice and rough. But I'll do a little bit more in the interior of this one, I think. So nice, lean nice and hard. You want to really get. If you do it too soft, it'll be nice, but I think to make it stand out, it's better to lean hard. But again, you can try different things out. It's your picture. Remember that, it's yours. It's your card. So, with oil pastel shavings, try not to get them on your clothes, the carpet. They do make a terrible mess. So, try and get them in the bin if you can. So, what colour to go for now? I think I'm going to go for the purple. So, I'll just grab that. And again, quite liberally, just going to splash it all over like so. There we go. Now, I'm just going to reuse this piece because there's still enough dry bits left on it to use. So I'm just going to place this over the top, give it a good pat, firm rub. Don't be shy of it. In fact, if it sticks to it, that's great. Peel it off, and what's quite nice is this kitchen towel's left a little pattern on it, little dots. That's quite nice, quite like that. So time to grab the hairdryer again. This is the noisy part. So again, that's dried quite quick because we've taken the excess off. So again, have a look for your line, see if you can see it, and use your scissors to cut along that line. There we go. So we've got two rather nice hearts. And then the final one, the smallest one, the little heart. Again, we're going to do the same thing, so you should be able to remember what you did last, but I'll run through it again last time. Little dot in the middle at the bottom, about halfway up, a dot at one side, a dot at the other side. Now in the middle between these two dots, about here, that's our next dot, and then in the middle, about halfway up, about here, and about here. So we've got that shape again, so let's draw that in, nice and quick. So again, lines are a bit straight, let's put the curve on them. Let's put the curve on them. It gets trickier the smaller it gets. There we go, rubber lines we don't need. So, now what oil pastel, no, I've not used the yellow. Now the yellow, the thing about yellow is it's quite easily altered by other colours. So I'm just slightly worried about the pencil mixing with it and creating a sort of dirty mark. So I've just really lightened this with the rubber, so there's hardly any pencil on it at all. So let's just bring that down. You see, as soon as I take the oil pastel over, it jumps out. It's really loud. Don't know why that is. It's just something graphite and yellow oil pastel seem to do. So it's came back, but that's a good thing because I'll know where to cut. So again, plenty of yellow on that. There we go. And some, oh, I'll put the big brush for the last one. One dot I think I'll need for that. That's that done. Again, we're just going to use this bit. Give it a pat down. I hope that all comes off in one go. I can maybe give that a second pat because there was so much paint on that. Second pat. Yeah, and third pat. You can keep going till you're happy. That's it. I can see the shape now. I'm happier with that. So, noisy time again. Let's get the hairdryer on the go. Hot. And finally, I'm just going to cut this one out now. It's a bit harder to see on this one. But yeah, I think I've got it, yeah. There we go. So now we have 3 hearts. And the idea now is to stack them on top of each other to create a heart motif, a layered heart. Now it may be that you like 2, like so, it may be that you want just these 2. But I think I've made 3, so I'm going to go with 3. I'm going to glue these together now. So I'm going to need my glue stick. I'm going to need a scrap bit of paper to glue on. I'm going to use a piece of kitchen towel. It's just to stop the glue getting everywhere onto the board and then onto you, and yeah. So this one we're not going to glue. We're going to glue this one to begin with onto there. So a nice fresh glue stick. Plenty of glue on, and because we're using this paper towel, I'm not worried about going off the edge. Doesn't worry me a bit, because I really want to make sure the edges are done. So, got plenty of glue on that. So what I'm now going to do is, now just going to pop that heart into the centre of this one. Now, if you've got a second piece of paper towel, one that you've not used to glue, we can use this one to apply pressure without getting our hands dirty or smudging the oil pastel. Let's take that off. So that, yeah, that's got lots of pressure on that. If there's any bits that want to stay up, just force them down. Got a lot more rough. But that's why this is really handy to use. Last heart on now. So this was the glue one. Yeah, that's right. This is the glue one. Flip it over. Plenty of glue again. Don't worry about going over the edge because we're using the paper towel. So let's take that off now. Let's line this one up. I'm just going to take paper towel over the top, give it a real good rub. Round and round and round. Have a wee check. Yeah, that's stuck down. That's ready to go onto the card. Now make sure your folded edge is on the left hand side. I think the heart will look rather good there. Now here you have options. If you've got masking tape, you could do this. It's a little option for you. So with the tape, you can use this to create a border around the card. Now the reason I'm suggesting you use tape to do this is because the paint is going to make the paper bobble. It's going to warp the paper just by its nature. It's wet. The paper is quite thick but not really thick, so it will bobble. So what I'm doing is I'm very carefully creating a border, masking off the edge. Roughly the same amount, about a quarter of an inch. And I'm going to do that around all four sides. All the same width approximately. Now if you don't have masking tape, don't worry, you don't have to do this stage. It's just a suggestion. So I'm going to take some paint, I'm going to paint over it. I like it quite random. Ooh. Some people might want to do it in stripes like that. Just whatever, as long as you cover it all up, it really doesn't matter. What I'm doing this way means that I can search for any lumps of paint, lump there, and I can scrub them down the way. Try to be gentle to the brush, don't be too rough with it or you'll break the bristles. So just the very tip. But you can swing it round lots of different directions, create a sort of scumble of paint over the top. Now you can see that's bobbled, you can see the movement, and that just naturally happens. I'm being attentive to the edges, I'm checking that the edges are done, so we get a nice crisp line, and the edge, get the corners, make sure they're done. Now I'm going to use the hairdryer and hopefully it'll dry and it'll dry flatter. Not completely flat, but flatter. That's nice and dry, and I would say it's quite a bit flatter now. So carefully, just pull the tape off. If you're gentle and pull it at a 45-degree angle, it shouldn't tear. Whenever you tape things, there's always the nice 45-degree angle. Pull away, not towards, always pull away. It should come off nice and clean. So you'll see it's a little bit, still a little bit warped, a little bit. But as we work with it, it should get flatter. So let's bring back our love heart. There we go. So we need to glue this onto there. Back with the glue stick. So this is just one glue. So I'll just take this here, flip it over, get the glue on. Again, don't worry about going off the edge. I tend to work from the centre out. Then I know I've got everything. Or you can just go along the edges. Just make sure it's covered, that's all. That's the key thing. So, I've got a little bit of glue on my fingers. Let's take that off. Try and be as clean as you can when you're working. If you get too messy, it'll just mess everything up. So I'm going to place that now. Position it. Use your eye. What do you mean? You want it up a bit, down a bit. I think I'm going to go try for pretty much in the middle, but leaving it slightly more at the bottom. So that's just a little bit more pleasing to the eye. So again, pressure, lots of pressure. Side of the fist's quite good for that. And again, because we're on the paper towel, we can do this without fear of marking our hands or the card. Round and round we go. That's quite a lot of pressure I've put on that. So I feel it should be good to go. Caught a wee bit, no, it's fine. And there we have our card. Now there's more we could do to this with oil pastels. So for example, just say I want to decorate around the heart. I could do some little dots like this. Just take them round, all the way around. so. There we go. Now you could put a message along the bottom, but of course you've got the inside of the card to do that with as well. So that's how to create the Valentine's card.